and precious values. It's also a little bit of foreshadowing for what I have prepared for you all today. Since 1945, FCCLA has placed the utmost of importance in holding true to the principles that founded our organization. We believe that it is our duty as members to seek out old and precious values while also being able to accept inevitable change. FCCLA wasn't always FCCLA though. In the beginning, we were known as the future homemakers of America, determined to show the value in homemaking. But what is a homemaker anyways? While many may think this term is outdated or offensive, I believe this is a beautiful word to describe our goal as members. That being to create and maintain a pleasant environment to live and thrive. A home. A home is not just a building that you live in. It is composed of people who love each other and do their best to show and share that love. Homemakers are every person that lives in a home and contribute positively to its well-being. There is a marvelous value in homemaking. I believe that it is important to destigmatize this label, for it in itself is a profession, one of the oldest ones at that. It alone is a career, and this organization promotes beneficial careers to society. If you really think about it, homemakers don't just build homes, they build families. They build civilization. Family Consumer Sciences has been around since 1909. Of course, it wasn't always FCS. It was known as home economics and is still commonly referred to as such. Although the American Home Economics Association changed to the American Association of Family and Consumer Sciences in 1994, 30 years ago, we still have to reference the original name to explain our coursework and organization many times. It is important to understand that this is part of our history, to accurately explain who we are and the reason behind it. So why did we change? I've had the opportunity to speak to those present during the change, advisors, members, and even American Association of FCS representatives. As you might imagine, this change was difficult for many to understand and come to terms with. The reason behind the switch was for the sake of clarity, to be able to fully encompass our values within our name. To us, whom all we have ever known is FCCLA, it seems appropriate and necessary, but we must also be able to look through the eyes of others. Just think. You're a rising senior, and the organization that you have given 3 years of your life just to change its name and purposes over the summer. Imagine how hard that would be to acclimate to. Or step into an advisor's shoes for a moment. FHA, your high school memories and 20 years of teaching just for it all to be changed in one conference. Truly cause for upset, correct? While we can write newspaper articles, make social media posts, and talk to people all day long, there will always be those who remember it as FHA, and that is perfectly fine. We, at our core, are the same organization. We share the same beliefs and values, and although sometimes it may be difficult to explain who we are, it is absolutely okay to relate back to dated names and coursework. Everything you do is for the sake of advocacy for our organization. One subject I would really like to touch on is the new Homemakers of America. This was FHA's segregated counterpart. Founded in 1945, NHA was an organization specifically for Black students enrolled in home economics-related coursework. Just like the future Homemakers of America, this organization held national conferences, elected officers, and even had a nationwide newsletter titled Chatterbox. They merged with FHA in 1960 after racial segregation was ruled unconstitutional by the U.S. Supreme Court. Although segregation is a very dark chapter, or rather a couple of chapters, in our nation's history, it is still very important to understand our history and recognize the outstanding work of an organization that pioneered FCCLA. It is absolutely vital that we remember this organization and we do not cover up all of the hard work that they did. It is very unfortunate that there isn't much information available about NHA or really even our organization as a whole. If you look at you do not have a handout, but if you did, you would see the new Homemakers of America emblem and some content I have covered for you to take with you. This information and handouts will now be available on the Tennessee FCCLA state website, and we will also link it on all of our social platforms. We appreciate your patience. Speaking of emblems, when you first think of FCCLA, what's the first thing you see? Maybe it's a service project, gold medal, or even your state's trading pin. I think I'm not alone when I say the rose-colored garment we wear is at the forefront of our mind. Our iconic red blazer, a bold symbol representing the organization and all of its glory. It dates back to 1982 when it was selected by the national delegation in Atlanta, Georgia. It was then implemented in 1983. The same year, star event competitions were introduced. Before there was a designated uniform, a sewing pattern was chosen at the national level and sent to the states. Each member could sew her own white jacket with the pattern and even add FHA emblem on the shoulder. I hope that you enjoyed this RedTalk or at least learned something new. For my concluding statement, I will leave you with this. What is FCCLA? Who are you? Don't let anyone reduce you down to a letter font. Hold true to your tradition, hold true to your values, and hold true to your purposes. Continue to seek out old and precious values in every part of your life. I've now designated this part of our session for any questions that the audience may have on national history or state history. As seen, we have some Tennessee delegation with us in the room. So, as I said, this is something very difficult for me to answer. I believe all we've ever known is FCCLA, but I do think that if you look at our membership rates from the time that we were Future Homemakers of America, it was insane. Like I believe in early, like 1947, looking back at our old newsletter in the state of Tennessee, we had more members than the national organization has at this very moment. So I think that the term homemaker did turn people off after a big movement in the 90s. But also I think that, I do think it is necessary to clarify, but I think that we did lose a lot of support by changing our name. Am I saying that's right or wrong? I don't know. I was not alive at the time that we did change. But I do think that it is something to definitely think about moving forward. So thank you for the question.